The woods don't just test you, they teach you. And every hunter has a lesson worth learning from. Here we dig into those lessons, the hard-earned wisdom from cold mornings, close calls, and miles of boot leather. From seasoned veterans who spent a lifetime out here, to newer hunters seeing the wild with fresh eyes. Every story carries something worth passing down. I'm your host, Gage Gall, and this is the Wilderness Wize Podcast, where we honor the old school truths, embrace new perspectives, and grow into better hunters and better woodsmen together. So pull up a chair, lean in, and let the wild teach us something new. Let's get wise. Welcome back to the Wilderness Wize Podcast, where we dive into the stories, lessons, and fails from the great outdoors. I'm your host, Gage Gall, and today I'm sitting down with Brian Hyatt, but we're flipping the script today. Today I am the one getting interviewed by Brian. So, Brian, thanks for being here.
Yeah, no problem. It's going to be off the top of the dome, too,
So I guess, Brian, what questions do you have?
So what's your background in hunting and fishing and just how you grew up?
So I grew up hunting and fishing from a very young age. My dad was taking me out hunting, fishing. I can remember hunting when I was probably around 4 years old. We had an old blind that was pretty quiet, and he could sit a 4-year-old in. And fishing, I mean, we got the bass boat probably before I can even remember, and I was out on that fishing for bluegill and stuff like that ever since I was really little. So I grew up hunting and fishing. Back when I was little, Dad was working a lot of hours and trying to grow with the company that he was working for, and unfortunately that meant it took a lot of time away from me, and hunting was the way we connected, and that was the time I got to spend time with my dad, and that's how we got to spend a lot of time together. So I immediately grew up loving hunting and fishing, not just for the fact of the sport, but because that's when I got to spend time with my dad.
What's one of the most enjoyable times you had with your dad?
Oh man, I think Dad referenced it when he did his podcast, but there was a time, I think I was probably 6-ish, when I got to witness him actually take a doe for the first time. I actually sat there long enough to watch him shoot a doe. It was with a muzzleloader. I'm sitting in a heated blind, but it was something where I could sit there and be a part of that whole experience with him, and it was exciting for me just because I'd never seen it happen. And maybe I was a little older. I was probably in the 4th grade, but I got to watch my first deer get gutted that day and all that good jazz. So that was probably one of the more memorable hunts I've had. And I mean, we probably did some squirrel hunting when I was younger, but I just don't remember it.
So go back to that a little bit where you seen your first deer being gutted. How'd you take that? Where'd that?
So starting out, it's kind of a little gruesome to start out with, just to see it. But the cool thing was at that point we were learning about anatomy a little bit in the 4th grade class. So I got to see like the intestines and stuff like that. So when I started drawing those conclusions that's what I was seeing, I actually started thinking it was pretty cool.
What made you want to start the brand of Wilderness Wize?
So the main thing is that I've always been into hunting and fishing, and it's always been a real passion of mine. I mean, if you listen to Amber's podcast, my little sister, she can remember times where, like, when we were little, the only thing we were playing was like hunting or fishing or survival or all the imaginary games that the kids play. But that's most kids are like, oh, we're gonna play cops and robbers. No, my games were hunting based, survival based, all that stuff, and I took a real interest in doing all of that. Starting in high school, we started trying to film hunts, and high schoolers don't have money. They don't really have means to do anything as far as like filming. Like they could, but we don't really look at it like that. So I mean, I started out filming just little bits and pieces there, not really knowing what I was doing. Sometimes I still feel like I don't really know what I'm doing, but trying to tell the story of the hunt and what it's like. And then the reason that we're called Wilderness Wize is because I found through work that I really enjoy teaching. I really enjoy bringing people into things that I really enjoy doing. And hunting is one of those things that I like bringing people into. I mean, I've kind of gotten to the point anymore where it's not so much about me killing stuff or hunting stuff or anything like that. And I get more satisfaction out of seeing somebody else take it. It's kind of like you with fishing,
Right.
It's, you could hand off a pole at any given minute to a kid or something like that. And, we just did this event last weekend with Lothario, and
Oh, it was awesome.
and watching these kids pulling fish, and
Yeah.
and I know Bob was out there, and he hadn't went fishing or done anything like that since he was 27. I'm 28 right now,
Man,
and it's
I don't know. I don't mean to cut you off, but I don't think I could last a full week without going fishing. I would go insane.
right. Yeah, and I don't. It as awesome as that is, he's. You just sit there and think about it, and that's what it's really all about. I think that, and the reason that I started feeling the need to teach people is because I was running into it at work. I was training people, and we naturally just get to talking about hunting or fishing or something like that, and they were like, "Man, I'd love to do it, but I just don't know how. I don't even know where to start." And you start asking them questions, and we're finally starting to get to this day and age where, maybe your dad didn't necessarily hunt, or your grandpa's not around to teach you how to hunt anymore.
Right.
And I mean, looking at statistics wise, we're down 33% of hunters since the 80s. Around COVID time, we actually saw an uptick in fishing participation, but we're still losing hunters as well.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a real passion project for me. So it kind of combined the two things. I've always wanted to get into hunting and fishing and getting into the filming and the doing, all these different things. And then you get to marry it really nicely with being able to teach and bring people up into the craft that, normally maybe not wouldn't get the chance to. And really, I think hunting and fishing, for me anymore, is more about the people.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where I'm at with it too now. It's like, I think it's been for, I would have to say probably 3 to 4 years now where it's been like, I know what I'm doing very well. I think I should probably pass this along. That way, and that's just probably the same way you're feeling too. Like, you're pretty good at what you do.
Right.
So why not show somebody else how to do it? So yeah,
Right.
That's very understandable. What's your earliest memory of hunting, fishing, or actually, I'll do this. I'm sorry. Your earliest memory of your most funniest thing that's happened while you were hunting, or an accident, whatever. I'm not quite sure.
Ooh, funniest thing that's ever happened. The earliest, funniest thing that happened. So we were turkey hunting one year, and we took and had to cross this river. Okay. On this river, we had made a bridge. It was private land, so before anybody gets too upset about us building a bridge on state, it was private land. But to build this bridge, we threw 3 logs down and nailed some 2x6 deck boards across it, kind of like slats.
Right.
I don't know if anybody knows anything about deck boards and them being not level across logs, and then you add a little bit of frost on top of them, but they are just a wee bit slippery, and I was about halfway across, made a tumble, managed to stay on the bridge, but stuck my foot right down in the water below, and splash, and then you hear the turkeys gobble to the splash. And I sat there, and my one foot just sat there and froze that morning, and I finally wimped out, and Dad took me over to my grandma's, and I sat at the house, and he's like, well, I'm going to go hunt this other field. And he comes walking back in about an hour later with a bird. And I'm like, well, he's like, see, buddy, you just stuck it out, you could have shot a bird. One of the biggest things I learned early on, whether it was from, sports or anything really in life, is that hard work and perseverance normally win. It's not very often that, you might have a better skill set than me, but I'm going to outwork you every day of the week.
Right.
You can be smarter than me about a lot of things, but if I can outwork you every day of the week, I'm going to get you.
Right.
It might take me a long time to get up to where you are, because natural talent does accrue some weight, but if I really work hard and I'm diligent about it and I'm persistent with what I want to do, I really think that anything in the world is possible.
Okay.
If another human can do it, I can do it. It just might take some work. We off podcast, we talked about Cam Haines a couple times in the gym, and Cam's a phenomenal athlete.
Yep.
And you'd be a fool to think that he got to be a phenomenal athlete due to genetics.
Right.
I mean, the dude works his tail off to get to where he's at.
Right.
So, I mean, anything that you guys want in life, you go get it. I mean, that's just bottom line. It's like, I want this podcast to be super successful. And it's really not, I was talking with my wife before I started this brand, and it really has nothing to do with me. Really, she asked me, she's like, what if you never make any money, or nobody ever watches your videos? If I can get one person that watches the video and they find some value in it and they learn something, that's enough.
Yeah. Yep.
And
I think I don't mean to cut you off, but I think it's kind of the reason why we kind of click a lot, because It's like, I want the same thing and so do you.
Right.
And I've told you multiple times off camera, just us talking, that I'm still going to show people how to fish.
Right.
Off camera, on camera. Even if this wasn't started, I still would have done the same thing. And that's the same way you are too. So, I got another question for you. I was sitting here thinking about it.
All right, what you got?
Where do you see this going? This brand? Not as what you want it to become. Where do you see it going?
I see it being able to do a lot of good. Whether it, makes a ton of money or not, I think that the videos that we're putting out with the educational content, and it's not all education. Some of it's, us fishing or us hunting or our,
right.
Our stuff. But the end goal is to get people to look at it and not think that they can't do something. Lothario was talking with me the other day. A little plug to Lothario, Limitless Outdoors. Go follow him.
Phenomenal group of people. That was so fun last weekend. Just very enjoyable. I loved it.
So you know, Lothario really always seems to sum it up, man. He's just so pro, like, loving people and really showing that you really can do anything that you set your mind to.
Well, that's what he says.
Right.
All about the smiles.
All about the smiles.
So,
you know, you look at that kid that caught the 35-inch pike, man. He is not ever going to forget that moment.
No. When we were there, I don't know if you filmed it or not, or maybe edited it out or whatnot, but the look on his face when he pulled it up, and then I think his name's Craig, right? Who helped him.
Yeah.
If I recall, his name was Craig that was helping him. The kid did not want to touch the fish because, you know, a piker naturally slimy, and I think the best part of me that made it smile, you know, to kind of bring back a little memory for me, you know, was when he grabbed it, had all the slime all over his hands, and he's looking around for someone to handle something to wipe his hand off, and somebody goes, "Wipe it on your pants," you know, and he wiped it on his pants, and it was, I don't know, it just kind of brought a memory back of me as a kid, you know. I was fishing for the first time, and you look at, you know, my buddy Jim or my uncle when I was real younger too used to take me out fishing and stuff like that, and just nasty stuff on your hands. You had nothing to do. You just wipe it on your hand, wipe it on your pants.
Right.
You know, come home and my mom used to be mad. But I don't know, it just kind of brought a memory back, so that was pretty cool with that. I really enjoyed being out there. That is a phenomenal group of people that host that and do stuff like that. I know, like, Lothario, he's got some stuff going on. He's doing really well. He's doing awesome with it. Yeah.
Yeah, he does good work. I really enjoy working with him.
Yeah. Hopefully there's more to come too, because that was,
yeah,
I would have to say that was one of my most funnest weekends in a long time. All right, let's see. We're gonna do a rapid fire. Favorite animal to hunt?
Ooh. Right now, elk, because it's the challenge of it. I really enjoy the challenge behind elk hunting.
Take the challenge away.
Turkey.
Okay.
Because there's a connection with the animal. That's probably why I like elk hunting a little bit too, is because you get to communicate with the animal, and it's not so much the gotcha feeling that you get from calling in a turkey or an elk. It's the connection somehow means something to me. I don't get it. It's just a certain element to it of, like, yes, I spoke to this animal in its language and called it to me.
Right. You're out elk hunting. What's the worst terrain you would ever want to be in?
Ooh, terrain or weather included?
You can throw weather in there.
In deadfall mixed with timber in a thunderstorm at high elevation. It's super dangerous. Hands down, probably the worst feeling in the world is sitting underneath of a poncho that's been flied out and waiting for a break in weather, because you know that, especially if you got to go back over the top of that mountain, you just know that you don't want to be where you're at right at that moment.
What's your worst experience that you had elk hunting? That if you could take it back, you would.
Oh, if I could take it back, probably my first time ever elk hunting. I was out rifle hunting and didn't really know anything about elk hunting. I have a bad tendency to look at a mountain on mapping software and go, yep, we're just going to go right up over the top of that. And mountains don't work that way. Topographical lines do mean something, and if they start getting really close together, that means it gets really steep really, really fast. And when you're looking at something and you're like, yeah, I'm going to start at 9,000 feet, and I'm going to hike up to 11,000, I'm going to pop the top and go across this plateau and then back down the other side, you're probably going to make it to about 10.5 before you go, all right, I'm feeling it. Especially first day out there, Flatlander, Michigan, never been out to 9,000 foot before. That's
right.
The reason I'd take that situation back is because I went so underprepared. I was not ready for that hunt. And then basically what ended up happening is I ended up on a really expensive camping trip.
5 needs that you need to have in your pack while you're out there.
Oh, only 5?
Yeah.
So, archery or rifle is my question.
We'll do archery and then we'll go back to rifle.
Archery season, I don't care how you hunt, whether you go back to base camp or you're backpacking in. Go get, and it doesn't have to be an expensive one, but go get a rain poncho. It's a need, it's not a want. If you get wet out there, temperature swings in the mountains are insane. If you get wet and you get stranded out, you are going to be hypothermic because it swings from 70 degrees down to 30 degrees. 2 is I'm always going to say to carry a knife. Just because if you're successful, you're going to need a knife anyway. Right. But B, like a decent stout, like survival style knife, just in case. Bonus points like mine, I have a ferro rod with me so that I can start a fire if I needed to. But that covers 2 bases. It's shelter and fire. You're going to be carrying water for sure. Make sure you carry enough water to get through the day if you're not going to have some sort of filtration system. At high elevation, you burn through a lot more water than you would normally. Make sure you're drinking it. That's how you get altitude sickness. And
you can't take it home with you. You might as well drink it. It's there.
Right, and if it's in your pack and you're carrying it around,
as you stay heavy.
Well, and as you drink it, you're going to lose. You're going to pee that out. You're going to carry it in your body. It goes to a different place.
Right.
So we got shelter, knife and fire, water. You're going to need food of some sort. Whether that's just lunch for the day or that's going to be your food for the week, I don't care. You're going to expend calories. You need to eat.
Right.
If you're not eating, you end up in a caloric deficit, and then you're struggling to just stay focused on what you're doing.
Right.
And 5 is going to be your weapon. So in archery, we're talking about archery equipment. And then as a bonus, like if you take the archery equipment and we're just assuming that we got it, that's just an item.
Yeah.
Number 5 is a wind checker.
This whole time I was sitting here thinking you were going to say TP.
Yeah. They got lots of grass out there, man. That's what they'll eat. You just kind of scooch across the ground real quick.
Okay, so about the same thing with rifle then?
So rifle's going to be just a little different. Ooh, layering system would have been a good one too, but rifle's going to be just a little different.
It's going to be colder too, rifle season?
Yes. You're more apt to run into snow in rifle season, so you adjust your layering system based off of the clothing.
Right.
It's going to be very similar. I never carried a tarp with me while I was rifle hunting, but I also didn't really know what I was doing at that point. I probably wouldn't carry a tarp during rifle season, just because I'm not, or a poncho during rifle season. I guess it's going to depend on the weather, but I think you're more apt to run into snow than you are into rain. Actually, I think I did carry rain gear during rifle season, but my pack that year was also like 65 pounds for a day pack, and that is way too much for a day pack. chalk that up to being super green and novice,
Right.
and not knowing anything about elk hunting. And then I was trying to backpack a camera up the side of the mountain and all sorts of stuff like that. And
So you're being not a new elk hunter now. I would say, what season do you think?
I wouldn't say seasoned. I'd say if like this is green and this is like a veteran elk hunter, I'm still in the wee baby stages of elk hunting.
Okay.
Enough to have made a few mistakes, but
Enough to realize that you made them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
What is your good favorite animal pack? What do you think it would be the most adventurous to go out there with just a bow? Like, how would you want it to play out in your head? How it should happen
To take an elk.
to take an elk?
Probably full rut. Calling them in. Screaming in your face at like 5 yards. Be like my ideal situation.
Nice.
Big, like nice 6x6 would be ideal. But right now I'm not picky. I haven't shot an elk yet.
Right.
So
I'm pretty sure everybody, if he shoots an elk, he's gonna scream like a little girl. Guarantee it.
already told Dad I was going to cry.
You almost, because you put your body mentally, physically through all that stuff, you know what's going to happen. I mean, that's a given. I mean, I can remember my first steel head.
Right.
How many I've lost before that and landed my first steel head. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that I cried. I'm not a little wimp, but I'll talk about that later. I'm just kidding. No, fishing is a lot different than hunting. Like, there's a lot of people that go out and venture to go fishing, but there's a lot of elk hunters that go through a lot to get in there and do stuff.
Right.
So,
yeah, and I mean it really is like elk hunting is, I've heard it compared to before, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And the hardest part about elk hunting is staying in the game.
right.
Mostly mentally. I mean, it's so hard, like, especially if you're not seeing elk, and all of a sudden they're there. Because they are, dude. They're like ghosts. I can't even describe to you, like...
See, you would think they would be loud.
They are when they're running away, I promise. You notice when they run away. You look up and you're like, man. But you gotta blow a couple situations to start really learning.
Right.
Because I haven't gotten even to the point where it's like, ooh, that was close. Almost got one. And I got to the point where it was like, oh, look, I see them running that way. Now, they were 30 yards, and if we'd have been heads up,
Right.
we could have probably...
So is that something you're saying is constantly pay attention to your surroundings?
Yeah, and it wears you out, right?
Right.
To be like... You drive truck, you know what it's like to constantly be aware of your surroundings.
Yeah.
But it wears you out to be in tune for 10 days.
Right.
And having just rode out 3 thunderstorms on the side of the mountain, you just want to go back and get warm at camp. So you're just trudging up over the hill, and then you look up and there's 5 cows standing there looking at you like, hey,
What's this idiot doing, man?
that's not an elk. Yeah, that's probably the hardest part of elk hunting is the mental game, because it really is a full-on mental game. Dad was asking me on day 5 if I was ready to go home.
Just, was it getting to him or getting to you, or?
I think it was getting him. I mean, I had a mini episode out there in the woods where I was just kind of lost my cool for a minute.
Yeah.
Poor pine tree didn't really like it. Yeah, the poor pine tree didn't deserve it.
So what do you think caused the little Upsetness, I guess you could say.
It's probably a couple things. You put yourself under pressure, for starters. Two is you're seeing sign. Like you're seeing like visible sign that the animals are there.
Right.
And not like just like, oh, well, there's a rub. No, like this rub is leaking sap. He was here last night.
Right.
Or like within 2 days. He's here somewhere. But like we hunt Colorado, and Colorado by far has the largest elk population in the United States. By a long shot. But the land mass that the animals are on is massive too.
Right.
So when you sit there and you talk about elk hunting and you're looking at the amount of area that an elk takes up on a land mass, like if you think about like the size on the land mass that the elk takes up, it's really quite small. Even an elk herd doesn't take up much area on a land mass.
Right.
And especially in dense cover and thick cover where they're trying to stay hidden and they know that there's hunting pressure out there, it gets really tough to find the animals on the landmass. That's why they say to don't leave elk to find elk.
Right.
Because if you're on elk, don't leave because you already found them. Don't go try to find other ones just because.
Not to cut you off, but we'll go back to where you said that you had your little meltdown.
Yep.
Do you think that you could, but do you think that all the stuff that was going on in your head back then, you think you solved that now from what you know now, from what you did then?
I think.
Minus the stress, because I know it's got to be stressful out there, but peaceful at the same time, so throwing you for a loop there.
Yeah, I think that. I don't think that I won't say that I won't ever have another meltdown out elk hunting, but I think that the stuff I learned while we were out there this last time, actually in the scene hunting, I think that will aid in us finding elk faster next time. And hopefully that'll reduce that stress levels down a little bit. Because once you find the elk, you can figure out how to kill an elk.
So was it like lack of food that caused it, or
lack of food?
Yeah.
For us?
Yeah, for you guys, like for you having your little meltdown, was it lack of food, lack of water?
Lack of sleep.
Sleep? Is that what it was?
I would say the lack of sleep was played a big part in a lot of the stress, and that kind of.
So how would you change that next time?
So I won't ever not hunt with somebody.
Oh yeah.
Going out west or even around Michigan. No, it's not my thing. I'm not a huge solo guy. I mean, I'll go out, but I won't. It's just not my thing. I really enjoy being around people while I'm hunting. That's kind of part of my thing.
Right.
So when you're elk hunting, the thing is you got to cover distance somehow.
Okay.
It's hard to cover distance and still sleep in the front country, by the roads and all that stuff where there's easy access. And the hard part about backcountry hunting is while you're getting sleep, you're still not getting good sleep. Because you're normally sleeping in either a bivvy or under a tarp or in a one-man trekking pole tent that's cramped and not 6'4". It's not exactly an ideal situation. There's stuff going on around you all night when you're in the backcountry camping. 2 years ago when we were out just scouting, we had a moose come through camp at night. Something that and Dad thinks that there was a bear that came through camp after dark. He couldn't confirm it because he never saw it, but it was making the noise like a bear does.
Right.
So he's, he didn't sleep real well that night. And so I don't think sleep is really part of elk hunting. It's kind of like duck and goose hunting. It's just, you just run on fumes most of the time. And
I mean, that's just like, I don't know if we got salmon fishermen out here or not, but like I told you before, I've done like 48 to like 39 hours of straight fishing. There's no sleep involved. Oh, I take that back. I think that one time when it was raining nasty and just bad out, we're on the other side of the riverbank. I had to lay in the mud, a little bit of fire this big. You wake up and you've been sitting here because you wanted to hit daylight. You end up taking a little nap and you're froze solid when you wake up.
right.
You wake up and you've been fishing this hole pretty heavy. And you're back in there a ways and you get two random guys walk right in, sit there and fish your hole that you've been sitting there the whole entire time.
Yeah.
So you can't really say too much because, it's state land. Everybody's have, so I can see the frustration in some ways,
Right.
but I get it. So it's gotta be stressful.
Yeah. Yeah, and managing stress is part of one of those things that you can learn from hunting. I mean, we've talked about patience with Jim quite a bit.
Yeah.
And patience plays into it, but stress management and getting that situation, like I was super stoked when we kicked those cows up, I'll be very honest with you. Dad was not. He was so upset that we didn't catch him early, and I looked right at him. I was like, man, I thought for a little bit we were trying to hunt a unicorn, so I'm just happy to see that they exist. Thank you guys for tuning into this episode of the podcast. Remember that fortune favors the ones who work hard and learn. And get out there, do something in the woods this week. And as always, stay wild, stay sharp, and stay wise. We'll catch you guys next time.